Okay. Um, let's see. Hopefully this is hopefully this setup is good. So I know that I'm in a different setting today. Um, and I wanted to actually transition the show today because I will be uh, changing the dates and drop times. So instead of weekly, I think we will do um, maybe once a month, right? Because I don't want to consume myself with so much at once, and I also want the message to reach and not be rushed or feel rushed, right? And so, hold on, guys. Let me just adjust for a second. Okay, there we go. So, today I wanted to talk about. I'm always rude. I apologize. Hi. Welcome to the Shells Brand podcast. If you're new here, thank you. You can find all of my social media, which is very few. I'm not on everything, but the Shells Brand. And you can also email me to have conversations more in depth to the episodes if you have questions about gear or just questions relating to the brand in itself. You can reach me at the.shells.brand@gmail.com. Okay. So, I want to keep it light, a little lighter today, and also tie into some things that I probably have already spoken on. And today, the highlighter for me is fear. Okay? Looking for something. Okay. So, we talk about fear a lot, or it's a major blocking point for a lot of people to move forward, to do something outside of their comfort zone, to be. And so I wanted to just give a little bit of my opinion and thoughts about how I felt about that, right? So the biggest challenge with coming back to self is to acknowledge that I haven't always allowed folks in. And that even goes for family. And that came from being in a protective state for a majority of my life and fear of just being disappointed by others. And that's still something I struggle with today that makes me distant or promotes my being isolated. So somehow, though, when I'm in settings, the ones who are meant to see and still acknowledge things about me and that make me who I am that I might be self-conscious about, that it always shows up, like it still happens. And I'm grateful for those individuals because a lot of the times they end up being like lifelong or just very solid relationships for me, which is important. So no matter the time spent, really, I just am grateful for those relationships, even if they might be, really quick or for a season, as people say. But yeah, I'm appreciative for those relationships nonetheless. Um, and in my experience of getting to know others, friendships with men have been easier, surprisingly, right? So I don't know that I can say I trust them as far as a relationship, or I had too much experience in the romantic realm, but as far as friends, like, yeah, my bros, like, we good, we solid, right? And oddly enough, with women, friendships have not been easy, but romantic relationship has been, or had been. And right now, with me just being by myself and loving that, I see what I see. However, that stood out to me that I wasn't able to establish really solid friendships, relationships with women outside of that of being romantic. And I had to dig into that, right? And as I'm coming into a newness about how I carry myself and the things that I take interest in, or just bringing back things that I had forgotten about myself, I enjoy the feminine parts of me. And I don't want that to get confused based on how I dress, how I present, or anything like that. That for me is a comfort thing and rooted in other things by way of events in my life that I had to work through and heal through. So I enjoy all the parts of me that are feminine, even if I don't embrace them completely, because I'm learning to love them, because God truly gave those things to me, and they're uniquely placed in me, right? So who would I be to be like, no, you're wrong. You're totally wrong. And at one point I did say, no, you're wrong. I was in the works of going through the process of having or taking hormones. I had already gone through some very entry-level surgical procedures, but I was on my way to transitioning into a transgender lifestyle, which is why I formerly identified as non-binary. And I did that more so with the non-binary identification because I felt like, well, people don't really get it. Like, they see her, but sometimes I don't always feel like her. Or they see him, and I'm definitely not giving him. And so balance, which is important to me in general in my life, I had to find that in my identity. And without seeking that for myself, just trying things out and failing as I had and experimenting with things that I thought to be comfortable, because when the term non-binary became popular, I didn't want to be associated with because of that. I very much thought I had found my voice, my place, my identity, but it was very self-driven, and I lived my life much like, I'd say, a heterosexual male, but I still was not that, so it didn't completely fit. Didn't have an issue engaging with women, didn't have an issue finding people or women to pique my interest or just entertain for whatever I needed in that time. But what I did have issue and difficulty with was establishing solid relationship and friendships. And so in God highlighting that for me recently, yeah, it really humbled me in the way of, okay, no matter how I think that I should be received by others, I'm still responsible for the relationships I establish or fail to establish, because there could be people that I'm supposed to be connecting with, but because of that fear of, I don't know how they're going to handle me, or I don't really know if I'm cut out for this, but you are. Don't miss out on opportunities because of fear. And that is the angle of fear that I wanted to go towards, and less of a traditional approach. Again, I know my setup was different today, and I had to get this episode in, and I had to not be lazy and not do this because somebody may be in need to, like, here, you never know. You just never know. As simple or as repetitive as some things may appear or seem to be. You just never know. So let me just check my notes to see if there's anything else that I want to touch on here. But yeah, okay, so boom, I just read, if I fear challenging myself beyond uncomfortable moments, I chance a loss in growth. I may not succeed at each attempt, but eventually I'd be better at the approach. Running away won't be an option. Knowing that I have a choice to set my pace with folks helps, and if I'm overwhelmed or anxious, I can identify when it's best to rest and reset. So I'm not isolating, I'm not running out of fear. I'm approaching these things head on, these challenges, these obstacles, because they're building me, they're building my character. Yeah, so I wanted to share that and just make sure that I wasn't going way too off. And you guys know I never really keep you too long, but as we build the brand, as we build the podcast, there are going to be things that become more comfortable for me here. But overall, I hope you guys are receiving something from this. And I have received input and feedback about it. And I appreciate those who are rocking with it and gaining some things from it. So thank you again. Social hour, I don't know. I don't really have anything for social hour this week. I've been just resting and taking heed to my note there, because sometimes I just need to reset, and it's just overwhelming being around people sometimes and spaces. But back to it, and we're not stopping. There's more to come. There's more to see. So thank you again for tuning in. And follow me again, the Shells brand, on social media. Reach out at the.shells.brand@gmail.com. And yeah, we're out.